Hello and welcome to Inside the VI. I'm Aaron Schultz, joined alongside by my co-host Dean Fisher, join us live from Sacramento, California via Skype.
On this week's episode, Aaron will give us the results for the North Division Final between the Campbell River Storm and the Comox Valley Glacier Kings, and I will give the results from the South Division Final between the Victoria Cougars and the West Shore Wolves.
Our news correspondent Tally Campbell will join us later in the show to discuss what went down as Game 1 of the VIJHL Championships just took place prior to the show being filmed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Inside the VI.
Welcome to Inside the VI. This is episode 25.
First, we're going to find out who won the North Division Final between the Campbell River Storm and the Comox Valley Glacier Kings. Game 1 would take place in Campbell River, where the Storm hosted the Comox Valley Glacier Kings. The Storm were able to stay perfect in the postseason thus far by defeating the Glacier Kings by a score of 4-1. The Campbell River Storm outshot the Glacier Kings badly, 40-19, but it was a close game as it was 2-1 for Campbell River late in the third period. However, it would be Dane Feeney who would score the goal with 55 seconds left in the third period to put it away. Josiah Friesen would add an empty netter to seal Comox Valley's fate. The Storm would only need one period of scoring to put away the Glacier Kings in Game 2. A monstrous 3-goal third period was all Campbell River needed as they took a 3-0 win in Game 2 and a 2-0 series lead. Riley Wellick only needed to make 19 saves for the shutout. Game 3 was tight until the bitter end. There was 56 minutes of scoreless action, but then the Comox Valley Glacier Kings would end the Campbell River Storm's perfect postseason with a 2-1 win and a trail to series afterwards, 2-1. Liam Shaw and Dylan Sampson would score 2 goals in 2 minutes apart with 1:40 remaining in the third period, but then it would be Gage Colpron of the Storm to make it a 2-1 game 17 seconds later. However, the Kings would hang on to win Game 3. Game 4 would arguably be the most entertaining game of the series, where the Comox Valley Glacier Kings would storm the Campbell River Storm at the Rob Brindamore Arena by taking a 3-0 lead halfway through Game 4. However, luckily for the Storm, Josiah Friesen would take his game to a whole nother level as he scored 4 unanswered goals, including the overtime winner, as the Storm took out the Glacier Kings 4-3 in OT and took a 3-1 series lead. To put Friesen's game into perspective, Friesen matched his season goal total in this one playoff game. Game 5 would not be close, as the Campbell River Storm put their foot right on the Comox Valley Glacier Kings' throat and took Game 5 9-3. They took the series 4-1, and they will advance to the VIJHL Finals. Gage Colpron registered a hat trick, but the offensive leader would be Colin Blake, who registered 2 goals and 3 assists. So the Campbell River Storm have won the North Division and are going to the VIJHL Finals. To find out who they will be playing, here's our own Dean Fisher live from Sacramento, California. Diener?
Thanks, Aaron. Game 1 of the South Division Finals got underway in Victoria, with the Cougars taking on the West Shore Wolves. The Cougars continued where they left off as they blew out the Wolves 8-1 to take a 1-0 series lead. The Cougars had 5 players with 3 points, including leading scorer in the VIJHL, Sam McMullen. McMullen would also play a big role in Game 2 as he led the way offensively, scoring a goal and 2 assists in a 4-0 Cougars win. The game was all Victoria as they outshot the Wolves 40-16. Game 3 went back to Archie Browning Center, where the Cougars kept rolling with an 8-2 blowout victory of the Wolves to take a 3-0 series stranglehold. The most noticeable player on the ice would be the Wolves' Corey Peterson. Even though he did have an assist, he bringed up 26 penalty minutes, including slashing, roughing, head contact, a game misconduct, and a misconduct. The Cougars would complete their second sweep in a row, defeating the Wolves 7-3 in Game 4 after a back-and-forth first period, which had the Cougars leading 3-2. It would all go one way afterwards, with the Cougars scoring 4 unanswered goals to put away the Wolves for good. Nathan Lewison and Sam McMullen had 3 points each, so the Victoria Cougars make it out of the South Division again and will play the Campbell River Storm in the VIJHL Finals for a spot in the Cyclone Taylor Cup. Game 1 of the VIJHL Finals just wrapped up prior to our filming to give us the breakdown of what went down. in Victoria, here's our own Tally Campbell. Tally?
Great, thank you, Dean. That's right. Game number 1 of the VI JHL Championship took place on Sunday afternoon when the North Divisional champion, the Campbell River Storm, took on the South Division champion, the Victoria Cougars, at the Archie Browning Centre. And the Campbell River Storm did what most people don't do at the Archie Browning Centre and score first by Kobayashi, but that was retaliated in the power play by Lane Van Duettering. And after a scoreless second period, third period, we were off to where Victoria Cougars Jake Stoltz would score to take the lead. However, in clutch fashion, Dane Feeney would tie the game up, and this game was headed to overtime. And the Campbell River Storm at 8:49, Colin Blake would score to take the game 3-2, and that gives Victoria Cougars their first ever playoff loss in a VI JHL Championship final. So Cougars lose, while the Campbell River Storm are now Series 1 game-0. And now joined the phone by Gage Colpron, a forward for the Campbell River Storm. Again, first off, congratulations on the game number 1 win. Gage, look at the past season for yourself in the Storm. It's been a quite impressive season. Looking at it, talk about some of the greatest memories this past season for yourself and the Storm.
Oh, geez, there's too many, but honestly, I think our home opener with Blakey scoring the overtime leaves a nice memory in my brain, and a couple of wins in away barns like the Archie Brown in regular season. That 5-1 win was a good one, and just the whole season, I think it was just great in total.
And now, Gage, not to disrespect any other VI JHL team that you guys faced off in the first 2 rounds of the VI JHL playoffs, but you guys single-handedly swept the Oceanside Generals, and then in Game 5 you beat the Comox Valley Glacier Kings. Were these series easier than you expected?
I think the first round I thought they would put up a bit more of a fight, I guess, but I think people are going to underestimate how hard the second round was. I mean, they were all pretty close games. We had to battle all of our wins out, and we kind of got, like, the last game got a bit out of hand, but other than that, I think it's a pretty good series.
And yesterday, Gage, you guys beat the Victoria Cougars in overtime in what it was a very intense game. Talk about game number 1 and talk about what you guys have to do in order to beat the Cougars.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was, like you said, a very exciting game, very nerve-wracking, and honestly, I think it's just tight both ways. I mean, both teams have such high power, and, it's just tough, like, to play teams so much like you, and I guess you just got to keep it simple and wait for your chances and bury when you do get them.
Great, thank you, Gage. That's Gage Colpron, the Campbell River Storm forward. Like we said before, game number 1 went to the Campbell River Storm. Game number 2 is still yet to be determined. Make sure you follow us Twitter at Inside the VI to learn what dates and times for game number 2 and the rest of the VI JHL Championship playoffs. We're going to pass things now back inside. Here's Aaron Schultz and Dean Fisher.
And that concludes this week's episode of Inside the VI.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Inside the VI for all the latest news regarding the VI JHL, and stay tuned as we continue our coverage of the VI JHL playoffs. Thanks for tuning in and have yourselves a wonderful week.